Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neuro-Inclusive Dog Pod, the podcast where we bridge the gap between neurodiversity and the dog world. As usual, I've got another fantastic guest for you guys to listen to, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because they always do a better job than what I can do. So, hello, Matt, welcome to the podcast. Could you tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's really great to be here. Finding your stuff and finding the work you're doing for me has been a great thing and a really good time in my life. So I would just want to say how much we appreciate the stuff you put out and stuff that you do.
Oh,
But
amazing. Thank you.
um, my name's Matt. With my amazing partner Tam, we run Southwest Dog Skills, based down in the Southwest between Bristol and Bath.
Mhm.
I'm a animal-centered education advanced tutor with the wonderful work of Sarah Fisher. Unfortunately, sadly, we lost Sarah Fisher recently. So yes, so with the amazing world of ACE, I work one-to-one with dogs. We did do classes, but we now mainly work one-to-one, focusing on health and well-being and looking at sort of detailed observations of dogs to try and piece the finer bits of their jigsaw of what's going on for the dog, rather than just the what's happening. It's the why that things are happening that's really important to us. We also run agility classes, focusing on and it's great speaking to you before we started recording because I think there's a similarity in ethos of bond building and enjoyment and mutual,
Mhm.
that opportunity to do something that's mutually enjoyable together rather than the focus of performance and outcome. So very, very similar in ethos to you in that sense. But yeah, we host some workshops or different things as well. So I'm very lucky to have our own training centre, and we use Tilly Farm, the home of animal-centered education, for our work as well.
Amazing, super. I love that, and I love it like that you're very, very similar in ethos. And I think that's the thing for me. It's finding people that are like-minded and finding a community, and that's why I love having these podcast chats. And it just widens a circle of people in different areas that do have the same ethos. Because sometimes it can be quite hard, can't it, to find people on a similar level. But no, that's brilliant. So I know in our pre-podcast chat when I was talking to you
Mm,
before, you mentioned that you worked in a school for 12 years.
yeah.
How have you found that has influenced the work you're doing now when it comes to individualizing needs from, but I suppose both the client and the dog, really?
The 12 years I spent working in education was in a school for children with and young people with profound and multiple learning difficulties and high level health needs. So a very care centered school with a
Hmm.
leadership team that I absolutely adored, and created a school that was centered purely on the needs of the pupil.
Hmm.
And when I first got into dog training, was quite disillusioned by because I started off life working with a balance trainer.
Hmm.
So the sort of disparity between how I was working professionally, between how I was being told I needed to work with the dogs that we had, um,
Yeah.
was really disappointing for me. But how that shaped me those 12 years was that understanding and that valuing that nothing is more important than the needs of that individual at that time. So whether that's dogs or humans, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I say to clients all the time, your dog can only be what they can be in that moment. They can only
Yeah.
do what they're able to do.
Hmm.
So having that experience over 12 years of, knowing that each day could, for each pupil could be completely different.
Yeah.
How that pupil turned up today compared to yesterday because maybe they didn't sleep very well, their eating's not great, they're in pain, their communication needs aren't necessarily being met. All these things that we had to spend time to learn that. And, we had young people in the school that they were one of five in the world with their condition.
Wow.
So the information about how to support them wasn't there because the numbers of the condition was so small.
Right.
So absolutely, all you could do then is go, right, what are you're just looking at the individual right now. What are their communication needs? What are they telling us? What are they trying to communicate in that, they're uncomfortable in their wheelchair or they haven't had enough time with their physiotherapist or whatever it might be. So
Mm.
those 12 years taught me in essence that the most important element was recognizing the needs of the individuals at that time because it
Yeah.
can be either it can really change minute to minute, but definitely day to day.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. That's something that I bang on about all of the time, and it's like music to my ears to hear someone else talking about it as well. And because, especially coming from an agility background as well, and it's so focused on performance and skills and that kind of thing. And it's like I've always said it all throughout my agility things, but even more so now since having my being neurodivergent, having my diagnosis, it's like the needs can change moment to moment, and we do. But there's a lot of trainers out there that work with the dog in the moment and stuff. But for me, it was about more than that. It was about not just the dog, it was about the human as well. And with agility, the typical things you see from a handler point of view tend to be anxiety or things like that. But for me, it's like, why, we look at this dog in front of us, and this is why I do the work that I do as a neurodivergent dog coach. It's understanding the human as well, but also understanding those human needs can change in that moment. And using agility as an example, especially competitive agility, you've got 4 runs per day. And even though the dog is going into the ring at the same venue, every single time they step on that start line, they can be experiencing something different, but also the handler can as well. And I think that's why my logo is jigsaw pieces. It always has been jigsaw pieces, even back in the agility days, because it's like the dog has its own jigsaw and then the human has its own jigsaw. And I always say that those jigsaws have to be held together by the relationship glue. And it's that glue as well, and that understanding that kind of molds everything together. But I think it's really nice to hear someone else talking about the needs in that moment, because they can change. There's so many environmental factors. There's so many other things that can be going on, mindset things, like you say, it could be something as simple as the drive to the venue that, somebody had a bit of road rage or an incident or something. But yeah, so I suppose that's really influenced the work that you do. So learning all of that from your school background, so to speak, has really influenced the work that you do now with the dogs as well.
Massively. I mean, I didn't actually go into dog training. Some people go into dog training because they love to work with dogs. I
Yeah,
went to dog training because I love to work with dogs, but I absolutely love to work with people. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
giving the opportunity for someone to have their needs met when maybe other other methodologies or other places they've been, maybe, I hear quite often, which is really upsetting, that, oh, someone's told them that they're not doing enough or they're not good enough or whatever.
mm,
And absolutely, those 12 years I had married with lots of other scenarios and other influences on my life as well,
yeah,
parents, family, friends, and all this sort of thing,
yeah,
really helped me become ultra aware of that idea that we don't walk in someone else's shoes,
yeah,
that we see a really small snapshot of that person's life. And
mm,
I'm always trying my hardest, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect at it, because we can always be better.
mhm,
But the things that we ask our clients to do is, well, how reasonable is that? How's that going to fit in? How is that, and even down to how is that information received, the language that we use, and the way that we put things across, or how we connect with that person.
yeah,
I try. The things I love doing is taking that person as far as I can on that journey to deeper understanding. And
mhm,
that really starts with us connecting in some way at a start point. And
yeah,
if anybody is going to adjust in creating that start point, it needs to be me as a person. I need to go to where that person is physically
yeah,
and emotionally and go, okay, this is where we're going to start and we're
mm,
going to move together. I cannot be that person that stands there, creates the expectation, expect the client to jump and reach the hoops that, I can spend time, 10 minutes with someone, and I can start to see the pathway that they're going to go on. But
yeah,
I can't create that expectation until I create a connection.
yeah,
And once we create that connection, actually, then we can muddle through this together. And, all these things that we talk about and these things that we do they're never instructions, they're possibilities of a way forward. Because if
yeah,
I say, right, this is the way you have to do it, that might not fit with the person's ability to practice. It might not fit in with their lifestyle or time scale or understanding, whatever it is. So I've got to make suggestions, and going back to that link in those early experiences for me, back when I was working in school, it was a lot of it was working as part of a team, so a
Mhm.
professional team. We had, and I think as an industry we're getting better, but we would have team around the child meetings where we would all come together as a group of professionals and
Yeah,
pull together to get the best out of that young person.
yeah,
And and I think, we can all make suggestions, but actually, unless we've got buy-in, and I love spending time with clients creating that buy-in for them where they feel the possibility of change is there
mhm.
rather than the expectation of change. So one of the things we talk a lot about at Southwest Dog Skills, and it's something I reiterate to people all the time, is this idea of opportunity over expectation.
Mhm.
So I'm creating the opportunity in no matter what we're doing. It could be a free workshop, it could be a one-to-one, it could be agility class. I'm
Mhm.
creating the opportunity for change and progression, not
Yeah,
putting the expectation on either the dog or the person that expectation that things are going to change, because that's
yeah,
pressure. That's
yeah,
pressure to perform, that's pressure to produce an outcome, that's pressure to be a way that maybe doesn't work for them. And when we
yeah.
create opportunity, the outcomes are multiple. The changes are diverse because actually we can go in any direction we want to when we create that opportunity-based outcome.
Yeah, that's it. I love that. I love that. Like everything you've just said there is just like lighting me up so much. I'm like, yes, yes, this is it. You get it. You know what I mean? And I think that's it. And I think the reason that I did when I got my diagnosis of I'm late diagnosed is about I have ADHD and autism. And then as soon as I got that kind of light bulb started to go off is into where I've come through from with my journey with my dogs. When I first turned up with Milo, I mean, I only got Milo 11 years ago because I was that anxious that I couldn't leave the house without, I was okay with my husband and my kids or whatever, but on my own, I would have panic attacks and things. So I was like, we'll get a dog, we'll get outside and that kind of thing. So when I turned up to classes, very new to, at that point, very new to dogs, the dog world and things, it was very regimented, very strict, very, this is how we do things. You have got to fit in kind of thing. And I was terrified. And my dog was, he's a Cocker Spaniel. I chose him on purpose. I did my research. I wanted an active dog, but he was a little bit naughty, and they'd say things like, when you got your dog back, we'll try again. But they didn't tell me how to try again, or they didn't tell me what to do to get my dog back. It was just very much I was made to feel a certain way and I didn't know anything. And knowing what I know now, my brain needs to know the what's, the whys, and, the how to's, not just the skills themselves. And I was like, this is why, because I now know I'm neurodivergent. And this is why I do the work I do now as neurodivergent dog coaches, because traditional dog training isn't set up for neurodivergent brains or even a diverse range of communication or styles. Just like, you do it this way, this is the way it's done. And then if you don't fit in or you don't kind of conform, it tends to, the problem, so to speak, tends to be put on the owner or the dog. And I've heard before of people that have been asked not to bring their dog to certain classes because, of whatever reason and things. And I think, yeah, and I think it all starts with communication, doesn't it? And hearing what you were saying there about the communication, it's so important, whether that's us communicating with our dogs and creating that relationship, or dog trainers communicating with clients, but finding out as well how that client needs that communication. So like you say, not everybody takes things in as verbal instructions. Not everybody takes things in, like there's loads of different ways, isn't there? But as traditional as dog trainers, what I did when I first started doing classes, I did it not because I knew I was neurodivergent, but looking back, I did it because it's what I needed. So when I was doing classes, I'd talk verbal instructions as well, but I'd also give a demo with my dogs, but I'd also have a whiteboard with drawn things on as well. And I was kind of covering all bases without even realizing I was doing it. And I was very, very specific with, we'd have beds out and we'd give a lot of information before the people had even turned up at class, because I didn't want anybody to feel like I did. And then fast forward to now, and it's about, oh, actually, this all makes sense because my brain needed that because I'm neurodivergent. There's all these different ways of people, it isn't just this set way. And I think that's the one thing I want to get across is the work that I do now is it's like learning that levels of communication from a dog point perspective, but also from a human perspective as well. It's super, super important. And to me, that's what glues all the relationships together. And from that, you're going to get the success anyway, aren't you?
And I think the key thing for me is I personally can do all the learning in the world. I can achieve all these things. I can, you know, attend all the webinars and the courses, but it's no good if I can't get that information in a way that other people then understand it. If I
Yeah,
can't get the information across to you, if I can't break it down or deliver it in a way that it means something to you or you
yeah,
connect with it, my most meaningful learning experiences, because they have been delivered in a way that have been meaningful to me, I can remember it all so clearly. I can
mm,
remember where people I've still got connections with sat in the room. I can remember what the room smelt like. I can just so much detail because actually the way that information delivered allowed me for my brain to be really open.
yeah,
Whereas other areas, during COVID, I really struggled with doing lots of on screen-based webinars and all that sort of thing where it was just PowerPoint of text, and I didn't really take any of it in.
yeah,
Um, because it wasn't delivered in a way that's meaningful to me. And I think having those experiences matched with, professional experiences pre becoming, where I am now, makes me curious about the learning styles of the individual, makes me want to understand more, makes me, I'm so pleased when people feel comfortable to open up maybe about a neurodivergence, or they're happy to say, actually, Matt, is there a different way I can have this information? Because there's a keenness them and a comfort for that person to say, I need this information in a different way. We've
yeah,
we've got in the scenario that we've got with the training areas that we use, we've got full control. So we can control the sensory elements, we control the lighting, we control, how busy or not busy it is, or whatever. So even down to understanding what the sensory processing needs are of both individuals, both dog and person.
mhm,
It's so important that that person has, if they want to come 10 minutes before their session, just to go and walk in the woodland for 10 minutes, just to clear them and ground slightly before they come in and work with me. We can
yeah,
create that scenario and we can allow that person to go away feeling that actually, yes, their dog's needs have been met, but absolutely their learning needs have been met too. And I
yeah,
think that creates then the endless possibilities of where that partnership can go, whether that's with help with recall or whatever it might be, all the different
mhm,
reasons why people come to see us. Um, and also that optimism from that person, maybe because the learning experience in life generally for that person maybe hasn't been great. And I think so much about my educational experiences,
mhm,
how maybe that wasn't great for me, and how, and we'll talk about it later. I know, maybe things could have been picked up that weren't, and all this sort of stuff. But
mhm,
I think when we can help that person actually feel that they can, rather than are not sure I can, or they doubt themselves, or they're feeling lesser. How
yeah,
often has anybody at all, neurodivergent or not, been in a learning experience where they felt lesser than everybody else? And that's
yeah,
so detrimental to that person's experience of what they're gonna, how they receive information, how they perceive themselves, the
mhm,
progress they can make. If someone comes to me and they leave feeling, they share their experiences. Maybe things have been quite difficult. Maybe things have made them feel quite down on their ability to support the dog, or even, how their relationship feels with the dogs themselves.
mhm,
If they can leave me feeling, actually, we've got this, we can do
yeah,
this, and Matt's here to support me and handhold me because he gets it.
yeah,
That's a massive part of my job.
yeah,
If someone, it would turn my stomach, and I would hate to feel that someone will leave going, oh Matt, I've got so much to do and I don't feel I can do it. Like, I've
mhm,
not done my job well if people leave feeling overwhelmed. I want people bouncing out, going, we've got this,
yeah,
we can do it, we can change, we can make a difference. And I understand my dog better. I can meet the needs for my dog. I know what my dog is communicating with me when they grumble at something or whatever it might be. All that
yeah.
stuff is just so important that we get that across.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love everything you're saying. I have been on the receiving end of those classes where I have multiple times gone, but left the class and been made to feel like I am a failure, or there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with my dog, and no, like knowing what I know now, I was massively, suffering with the rejection sensitivity that we get as neurodivergent people, imposter syndrome, all of that. And if I'd have known then what I know now, I would probably have felt differently. But I think this is why it's so important as dog trainers that we look at the human end of the lead, but also that we're looking at neurodiversity as well, because it's not going away. Thankfully, a lot more people are getting diagnosed. I know there's a bit of a wait list and all of that things, but not only that, people are recognizing things within themselves. And one of the things that gets me with the dog training industry, and I think it's why I bang on about it so much, is because we have this thing about about types of dog trainers and what makes a good dog trainer, what makes a bad dog trainer, that kind of thing. But I think we need to look a little bit inward as well when it comes to how we're delivering our classes, just from the elements of, if you're not making your clients feel seen, safe, and supported, they are going to go elsewhere. And from a neurodivergent perspective, those clients are not the ones that are going to speak up and feel confident about saying, oh, your class has made me feel rubbish, I'm not coming back. What they're going to do is they're going to quietly slip away. They'll feel bad about themselves, but then they probably won't be confident enough to even go to another dog trainer, just in case they're going to be made to feel the same again. But then what they'll do is they'll head on over to the internet. And then we know, there's good dog training and bad dog training on the internet. And we're ultimately kind of in a, not in a, not deliberately, but we're pushing these people onto the internet because we're not making our dog training classes and not making people feel seen, safe, and supported. So they're having to go elsewhere because they've still got a dog that they need to train in whatever discipline that they want to train them in, whether that's just general pet dog life or whether it is sports or whatever it is. So I think it's super, super important that trainers are aware of the human needs and the diverse range of human needs, whether they're neurotypical or neurodivergent as well. So it's really, really good to hear you talking about it as well. I'm like, yes, you get this. It's amazing.
And it's from my experience, it's definitely getting a whole lot better. When I first started getting into, even before I was working in education, what we're going to say now, 18, 19 years ago, when I first met Tam, and she, no, 20, oh my gosh, it's 20 odd years ago. I first met Tam, and she had a dog, and she was going to classes, and I tagged along. Uh, and it is getting better from my experience. There's always going to be work to do. I think education and that thirst for knowledge on the person to go and be curious, to go and find out different teaching techniques, different ways of I did an exercise once and it was such an eye opener with so we have 5 people in our agility classes. And it was clear that there was a big difference in how those people received information. So we had one person that was an ex-dance, so they're used to copying movement. So they
Yeah,
needed me to walk it and they could copy it. Some people needed to walk the course. Some people needed a whiteboard so they could
yeah,
draw a map and they could, with a marker pen and they can draw it round. And we
yeah,
spent time just going, right, how do we help your course running become better? How do we
yeah,
help you understand the movements that you need to do to get your dog to be as incredible as we know they can be? And actually, we went, right, you need to copy, you need to watch it, you need to walk it, you need to draw it. And they
yeah,
went, and all of a sudden, because we took the time to do that, and because we create a scenario where, like I said, this whole idea of opportunity over expectation, they absolutely jumped on it. They weren't,
amazing.
we've got, because we don't train for competition, they weren't hard set on, right, we've got a competition in 2 weeks, I just need to get over this. It was like, well, let's
Yeah,
be curious about how we learn. let's
yeah,
let's have that experience of, oh yeah, no, I do need information in this way. Because
yeah,
ultimately, for me, if I've got the opportunity to help someone recognize something in themselves about how they like to receive information beyond just what I'm doing,
yeah,
that's also going to be a massive benefit to that person's well-being as well.
yeah,
And also, if they feel comfortable of, they were brave enough to share with me maybe a neurodivergence or a learning style,
Hmm.
and I've received that really well and met their needs, then does that have a beneficial knock-on effect to the next person they go and see about learning French or whatever? Like, where does that take that person when maybe their learning experiences before have been, we're all gonna learn it in this way. And if you
Yeah.
can't do it in this, my one of my biggest learning experiences where I finally felt I could thrive was I went and learned British Sign Language.
Oh wow.
And the British Sign Language was um, deaf tutor would do the sign and you
Uh-huh.
would you would repeat it. For me,
Right.
visual learner, I've seen you do it once or twice, I've got it, I've banked it, I'm off, I'm great. But a
Amazing.
couple of people in the class were like, "Where's the written descriptions of how you move your hands to be able to do it?" I was like, I don't
Yeah.
and for me, I was like, I don't need it. And for once, I
Yeah.
was like, I was top of the class for
Yeah.
once, and I was like, yes, this is great. But and I want people to feel that.
Yeah.
I want people to come to whatever it is that we put on and feel they've achieved, their dog's had a great time, they're
Yeah.
learning in partnership, they're progressing, they're moving on in a way that really means something to them and it helps them feel valued. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do. I
I
love
love it. I love it. And they get more success anyway, don't they? I think this is a thing. I think we always focus as dog trainers on the dog and the progression that the dog's having. But I think if we can open it a little bit wider and look at the communication styles, the learning needs, and just even the sensory stuff that our learners, that our handlers are coming in with, then the dogs are going to get more success anyway because we're enabling the handlers to learn in a way that suits
it.
them and empowering them, aren't we? Really, to say yes, you can do this, rather than feeling like a failure and stuff. And even little things like I went to an agility class probably about 6 months ago, and it was, I mean, I've been training agility years and I've been with this training years, but I came away and I was like, I felt rubbish, and I was just sitting, I was driving home, and I had like this little light bulb moment. I'm like, why do I feel so rubbish? Because all it was, we turned up to the venue and we were doing one jump skill, so it just, sometimes you need to do skills, it's part of it. But my dog hates that. He hates the venue. He found difficult anyway. He hates repetition because he doesn't like failure at all. So it didn't really suit him. But for me, I was like, I was bored. But then I realized on the way home, it's because I didn't get that dopamine hit that my brain needs as a neurodivergent person from the movement, from the working out, from all of this. And I'm like, oh, and I did actually message the person I was training with saying, oh, just, this is why I was a little bit down kind of thing. I went at it from that angle. But I'm like, wow, I felt so different. And it wasn't until I was driving home and I, put all the dots together. I thought actually this we need to understand this when we're structuring our classes and things, because we don't want people to go away feeling like they felt. I mean, my dog did all right, he did all right despite him not enjoying it as much. It was more me and how I felt, and I just felt awful even though I'd had a relatively successful session with him. So yeah, it's super important. I think when we get that and we see our clients and even ourselves when we had those moments, it's incredibly rewarding, isn't it, to see that success and everything. So we've talked a lot about the rewarding part of it, and when we get it right, how fantastic that can be. But we all know that being in this industry can come with its challenges as well. And so we'll flip it on its head a little bit. And have you found that being in this industry has been quite challenging at times? And I know I definitely have several times over the last 11 years that I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I even doing this? And you kind of have to pull it all round again. So have you felt anything like that during your career doing it?
For me, because I found a place with animal-centered education,
Mm-hmm.
because I found a place that absolutely wholeheartedly fits my ethics, values, and my ethos.
Yeah.
And I can be the person. So, I went through that transition from balance trainer into classic reward based trainer into
Mm-hmm.
where I am now, which is more that holistic working. And that's where, and I never knew that area of the industry existed until a chance opportunity.
Uh-huh.
And when I found that, and it was such a life-changing experience for me of this is an area of the industry where actually I can be the person that I want to be. I
Yeah.
can I can find that piece in me of this is where how I can work with dogs and people
Yeah.
that not in the same way
Hmm.
because I am surrounded both virtually and physically by people that think in a very similar way to I do. So
Yeah.
I've got colleagues and I've got friends that I can turn to and we can chat and they can, and of course, not every session is perfect. I'm not always at my best. I'm not going to sit here and say I do a good job every time or
Yeah.
there isn't challenging moments. Of course there is,
Hmm.
but there's I've focused my time and energy going, these are my almost going, these are my people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the most of the opportunities I get by being with those people.
Yeah.
And there are, and coming to peace with that understanding that everybody's gonna like what I do,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna like what everybody else does.
Yeah.
And I can park that now. I don't
Yeah.
need to get wrapped up in the battle of techniques, ethics, all this stuff, because I'm so relieved and thankful that I've found animal centered education because it allows me to wholeheartedly immerse myself in that and be really comfortable with that and also be clear on if you don't like what I do and how I do stuff, that's fine.
Hmm.
Because and that's one area in terms of, and I know we're going to touch about sort of the ADHD side of it, undiagnosed, that sort of thing. That rejection sensitivity in that area of my life isn't necessarily there because I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm so comfortable where I am.
Yeah.
I can almost go, if you don't get it, that's cool. Or if you've got a different way of doing it, that's as long as you're not causing harm to people
Hmm.
or dogs, it's okay. I don't
Yeah.
need to get wrapped up in the negative stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need to get bogged down with it. I see things on social media and you develop that ability to just go, that's fine. I'm just going to scroll on from that. I don't need
Yeah.
to get bogged down with it because I've found in animal centered education that place that I want to be, that I truly believe has a huge impact and benefit to the dogs and the people that come and we
Yeah.
do work with. So I'm at peace with other stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a nice place to be, isn't it? And I'm gonna like relate it back to the experience I've had, like we spoke before we I hit record, and coming
Mm.
from an agility background where everything's so performative and performance based and stuff, and now the work. So my work that I've had is, through the agility, especially being a competitive trainer and a competitive handler and stuff. Since doing the work I do now as a neurodivergent dog coach and collaborating with just being more open and more me really, because before I had my diagnosis I didn't know what me was. I was realizing now that when I was agility training I was massively masking and training agility like others expected me to and things, and it led me to burnout, to be honest. That's what happened. It just completely burnt out and I was like, what on earth is this? What is wrong with me? And right back, timing was perfect when I got my diagnosis and things like this all makes sense now. And the work that I do now and the people I collaborate now with are just a completely world apart from from the people that I was, like before. Trying to get collaboration in agility when it's competition based and you're doing all right yourself is really, really difficult unless you're up there and you're a top name. You kind of like you have to be in the in crowd, and it's super, super difficult, especially doing the work I was doing because it was very animal centered, very much let's look at the dog, what they need in the moment, let's look at the human, how are you feeling, forget the skills. That doesn't matter because there's no point even trying the skills if you or your dog are feeling a certain way. And trying to get that across in the agility world when everybody is about let's just do the course, let's just do this, and we might, if we learn a thread or wrap then maybe we'll win that. And I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. And that's why I'm glad I've kind of stepped away from it gradually to do the work that I do now as a neurodivergent dog coach, because I'm like, it just burns you out. And it's just like finding the people I collaborate with now that completely get it. You do get to that point where you're like, this is my tribe, this is these people get it, and you do feel at peace, and you kind of like the sense of just calmness and peace since I've just navigated a different area I'm like, whoa, it makes a massive world of difference. So it does. I do get completely everything you're saying there. So when it comes to things like burnout and things and compassion fatigue, the industry that we're in, it is quite prevalent, isn't it, in the work that we do, but also in the expectations we put upon ourselves as well. So when it comes to that, have you found that you found any period of burnout or anything like that, or have you been particularly lucky and
Yeah.
skipped it?
Yeah, no, I mean, no, no. Um, when we first started the business in 2018,
Hmm.
um, we went through, 2 years pre-COVID of just putting on as much as we can and putting on things when people wanted them. And
Yeah.
I look back at the time, I look back through my calendar the other day, a couple of years ago. I was like, how on earth was I doing that?
Yeah.
And burnout and compassion fatigue definitely hit, and it hit me really hard.
Hmm.
And this is where this whole discovery of potential and going down the route of looking into a diagnosis for ADHD came in. Of
Hmm.
so one of the organizations I'm affiliated to, you get one free counseling session a
Hmm.
year or part of your
Yeah.
membership.
Uh-huh.
So I got to the point where I just can't, I wasn't me. I was hoping that people wouldn't turn up for sessions. I was,
Mm.
thinking, if the rain really comes in, I can cancel sessions. I could take a break just because I was losing my capacity to give in a way that I wanted to
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
just reached that point of I can't take any more in. We were creating scenarios where people would share some really meaningful stuff for them, and I didn't have, and I wasn't giving myself time to deal with that stuff either.
Yeah.
So I had this, and Tam said, look, you've had counselling in the past for other things that have gone on. Why
Hmm.
don't you reach out to have this free session
Yeah.
and go with that? And I was like, well, yeah, don't have to pay for it. Let's give it a go. And the person I started working with, she got me from the outset,
Hmm.
which was just like, it was amazing. And we talked through lots of stuff. And for me, although COVID was, and I never want to glorify COVID because it was horrific, it was a horrendous scenario. Actually, for me, it came at a really good time
Yeah.
because I had to put the brakes on, I had to
Yeah.
slow down, I had to stop, I had to take time.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, when we made some changes in the business and we slowed things down and we really focused on what was important. And
Mhm.
coming out of that, to continue that, starting to work with this counselor, um, it it really helped me be able to look after myself better,
Mhm.
structure things a lot better. So now, I structure the business in a way that I do take breaks, I do take weeks off, I do take,
Yeah.
most of August off. I've just had a lovely long break over Christmas
Yeah.
because if I'm going to be the best person in front of the clients that I want to be
Yeah.
and I need to be for them, I have to be better at looking after myself too.
Yeah.
And then there was all this stuff that came out, the suggestion from the counselor that, Matt, if you looked into the possibility of you might have ADHD, which from a young age I understood that I was dyslexic, although that was
Uh-huh.
never tested.
Uh-huh.
My dad was dyslexic. He's dyslexic. So my challenges with reading and writing and information retention and all this sort of thing, I
Mhm.
always just put down to dyslexia.
Right. Yeah.
But actually, when the counselor started talking about the characteristics of a someone with ADHD, I was like, crikey, yeah, that fits a lot of stuff. And it's
Yeah.
and it's interesting because I worked in that world for so long,
Yeah.
and always, and you mentioned it earlier, always masking challenges, always finding workarounds, always trying to become the person that other people wanted me to be to fit in that scenario, and that's one of the
Yeah.
traits, isn't it, of, I can be anybody you want me to be.
Yeah.
And I've always had that thing in my brain that there's just some things that I'm crap at.
Yeah.
And I'm lesser because I'm rubbish at those things.
Mm.
My brain doesn't remember stuff very well. It doesn't, time referencing is really difficult, so many elements. But actually, when I look back at my career, what's been really helpful as a workaround for me is everything has been based on timeframes and sessions. So
Right. Yeah.
working in education, you had a timetable. You
Yeah.
weren't you weren't, left to your own devices to get a job done. You were like, right, I have to be here by 10, I'm going to be there by 11, da, da, da,
Yeah.
So some of the things were hidden by
Yeah.
some of the ways I'd gone in my career, but
Yeah.
personal life wise, personal life doesn't work that way at all. It's very different, and that's
Yeah.
where some challenges come up, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting, isn't it? And I found this. I don't know if you found this yourself. Like when you hear those words. So for me, when I started considering being neurodivergent, it was actually my daughter that said, "Mom, hold on a minute." She goes, "What?" She works for a company, and she registered to be a mental health first aider. So they sent her on the course, and the course teacher was neurodivergent herself, and she was telling her story and things, and like little light bulbs were going off for my daughter and going, that sounds like my mum, and like making every hobby into a business and having all these other things going on. And so she came home and she was like, Mom, I've been, this lady's wrote a book, why don't you read this book? And it was just a crazy unfolding of events. So she mentioned it then, and then I happened to win a ticket to a big business event, which is very much focused on business and personal development, that's really inclusive of neurodivergence and lots of other different things. So I won a ticket to that, so I went along to that, and I was like, oh, these are kind of my people. Everything's all making sense and stuff. So it was kind of that opened my eyes to it, really. And then all of these other things started happening, and it takes you on this kind of journey. So then I thought, well, actually I need some people go for an official diagnosis, some people won't, they'll be self-diagnosed and stuff. But for me, I was kind of like, I want to just know. I want to know if because I have always felt like the outsider. There's something wrong with me, like you say, a lesser of a person, because I just couldn't do certain things, and I just thought, oh, it's just me. And I always used to describe myself in situations like, oh, I'm just a bit weird, but I have to do things this way, and I'd always open it with that. So I know you mentioned yourself about possibility looking at a diagnosis. So if you're willing to talk about that, how has that made you feel? What are you kind of hoping to get from that going forward?
So when it was, when so many of the characteristics that I then went on to research and the counselor and I talked through,
Mm-hmm.
when it became clear, I was sort of in my head, I was going, okay, I'm pretty confident that that's going to be the case. So do I need to go down the route of diagnosis or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then over time thinking, well, am I being the best I can be without it, with potentially with, and I've spoken to a couple of people about, they've gone on to be medicated and how that's supported them and change, helped them with certain things as well. And I know there's a big, within that neurodiverse community, a big conflict between medicate and not to medicate and all this sort of thing. So that curiosity for me of, well, what could I be if I did
Yeah.
go for a diagnosis and medication was supportive?
Yeah.
How could life be for me? What elements of life that I find difficult, although I'm working as hard as I can on finding methods that work for me to support me as I am,
Mm-hmm.
could things actually be even better?
Yeah.
Um, so it's more the curiosity now for me of, but
Yeah.
also mixed with that anxiety of that you being looked at in more detail and someone actually saying, Matt, you're not. You're
Yeah.
not, you don't have ADHD.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, am I just crap at life then?
Yeah.
And that conflict in my head of that moment comes
Yeah.
where definitively, because at the moment the conversations have been, you know, it's pretty likely, but it's all been from, stuff I shared with the counselor, different conversations I've had with different people.
Yeah.
Nothing's been definitive and defined yet.
Yeah.
So there's always that, for me, in my head, there's that element for me of someone turning around and going, "No, I don't think you are,"
Yeah.
which fills me with a bit of stress, I must say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that opportunity for me to be able to explore myself more,
Hmm.
to become more self-aware, to become better supported
Hmm.
in finding support in whatever way it might come, whether that's through finding a community, more regular support from therapists, or whether that's medication support, whatever is, well, am I being the best version of me, or I suppose it's the difference between am I thriving or am I surviving?
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see where I can go next,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
suppose.
interesting. And it's interesting as well what you say. All of the things that you've heard that are completely valid and completely not like I'd say normal. I don't really like the word normal, but
I know
valid
what you mean.
responses because I think everybody goes through that. It's really common that people say, "Oh, this is a possibility now. My neurodivergence is a possibility." But what if somebody tells me I'm not? And it's that kind of like, well, how do I face that then going forward and things? And for me, when I got my diagnosis, I was kind of like somebody once said to me, I thought I'd get a diagnosis and it'd be like, right, that's it, you've got your answer now, you've got it, you know what it is. And somebody said to me, now you've got your diagnosis, just give it a little bit of time. Says don't, because everybody thinks it's like an end goal, like an end. Oh, that's still the answer. That's why I've been like this. That's why, and it's like an end kind of thing. They said no, it takes time. It takes a lot of time for it to actually sink in and realize. And don't make any rash decisions because at the time I was like ready for burning my business down and all of these kind of things. I'm like, but there was like no, just take your time. Don't make any massive decisions and let it sink in. And I was like, take time. Why do I need time? This was like an end goal to me. Why do I need even more time? And I completely get it. Like, I'm a good few years down the line now. And I'm like, there's still things that come up. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And you're finding it's like, I know a lot of people don't like the word journey and things. It's like a discovery journey of who you actually are because you spent, I'm 43. So I spent 43 years being this person that who I thought I was. And you're like kind of unpicking things all of the time. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this now makes sense. And that makes sense. And it takes quite a long time for I've found. I mean, everybody's individual, everybody has different experiences. But to actually peel all the layers off, and especially working in the dog industry, because it is so set in its ways of you must conform to this or you must do that, or, there's so many things, pressures put upon us. I'm like, actually, just sitting back and taking a little bit of time to be somebody else. And sometimes it is scary to actually say, right, this is me. And when I first started doing the work that I do now, it's a complete contrast because, I talked about agility and behavior and anxiety and all that kind of thing to suddenly go, actually, I've done a lot of, research, a lot of qualifications all about this now, and I'm going to go down this angle. You do get a little bit of backlash. And for me, the backlash came from people that I didn't expect it to come from. So I put
Mm.
something out on Facebook and it was about seeing things from a neurodivergent perspective. And there was people that I trained with regularly that saw me regularly that they were the ones that were giving me backlash going, actually, that just sounds like common that everybody goes through and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, I didn't expect it from those kind of people. So I think it's a massive range of emotions that you go through. And it's difficult, isn't it? Because you want to know and you want to get that clarity. But I think there's also that for me, there was a lot of freedom in getting that clarity and I could put all the pieces back into place. But also there's a lot of fear as well, because I think we've spent so many years masking and being this certain person. When we rip that, mask off and try to be a little bit us, there is going to be people possibly that will actually, I don't really know who you are now, or that you're not, that you're a completely different person, or you're not a different person, but you're, as we become more of ourselves and show more of ourselves, well, actually, I'm not sure about that version of you or whatever. And it does feel really scary. And that's one of the things that massively I talk about in my work, because when we're going from a dog training perspective, people, neurodivergent people, have spent such a long time masking, pretending to be someone else. And then for me, when I was going to dog training classes, one of the biggest things for me that I look back at now and I almost shake my head at, I'm like, why did I do that? when I train my dogs on my own, I give a lot of rewards. I'm very, energetic, very make silly noises, all of that kind of stuff. We have a really good fun, basically, in a really nice relationship. I was going into certain environments, and even though I was doing the rewards, I was like a completely different person. I was almost mute. I felt so stressed. I was anxious, and I was like, I could see myself doing it, but I just didn't have the confidence to be me because I was worried about the other people and their perceptions and what they were going to say. And that had such a massive effect on my dog. And, especially the youngest one now, him being super anxious himself. And the moment, and I always blame all of the dogs teachers everything, don't they? But I think Quest has come along for a reason. I expected him to be this little prodigy agility dog that come out and just did agility straight away. He's going to be, I've got 2 grade 7 dogs. He was going to be the next one that flew up the grades. And he was like, no, I always say he's like an assistance dog that didn't need any training. Because although I knew that dogs smelt our emotions, they picked up on all that, I used to teach it every day. I have never known a dog like him. If I'm feeling a certain way, even before I knew I was feeling that way, he was like he's up in my arms, he's, sitting on my knees, like trying to change that emotion. And I'm like, whoa. And then trying to put that into a competitive agility context, I was like, oh, it kind of like, all kind of fell apart basically. And then there was this pivotal moment where I stood in the ring, and there was people that had given me a hard time when I first started training years ago. There were lots of people that said, oh, you shouldn't be a trainer, your dogs aren't proper spaniels, all of this kind of stuff. Anyway, fast forward a few years, and I'd taken Quest to a competition. I'd put him on the start line. He was fine. I'd worked through all of his issues. I thought we were fine. The 2 people were stood at the side of the ring, and I was like, oh, and I don't know what, it's something obviously changed in me. And I thought, he'll be fine. He's fine now. It's fine. And I was giving him his release cue, and he just would not move off the start line. And then I was like, oh, this is not number one embarrassing because they're there. And then I went towards him, and he literally just rolled on his back, and he'd never done that before. And I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, and then I got more, like anxious and stuff. And then in the end, I just ended up running into the middle of the ring, getting him to follow me, have a bit of fun, and then we left. And I was like, whoa. And that was just like this pivotal moment that just went, do you know what, Katrina? You've still got stuff to deal with. It was round about the time I was going through the diagnosis as well. I was like, this stuff is powerful because it's like, unless you're allowing yourself to be who you are, it massively affects the dogs. And that's why I do the work I do anyway. But I think I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but bringing it back to actually us feeling safe enough to explore who we are and take off all of this mask can be super, super scary. I don't know if you felt any of that yourself or.
Yes and no, not
Mm-hmm.
not to the extent I from what you're saying. I feel that maybe you have from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
that judgment from others,
yeah, yeah.
and also at the moment. I mean, this podcast in itself is when it does go out, and I'll share it. Obviously, I'll share it on my channels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the first. Maybe I'm a bit behind, obviously further behind where you are, but
Yeah,
also I'm quite comfortable with the people's reaction says more about them than it says about me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So from what going back to what you were saying about that judgment from others,
Mm.
I'm more than happy to then disconnect myself from those people
Yeah,
because it massively says something about them.
yes, yeah,
And
yeah,
do I need those people in my life to be able
yeah,
to I'm not going to be that version of me that they feel I should be.
yeah,
I'm going to be the
yeah,
version of me that I am.
yeah,
And either that's okay with you
yeah,
and with my ups and downs and my goods and my bads and all this sort of thing.
yeah,
And it also says a lot about, well, where is our connection?
yeah.
Because the people that I feel, we've just as an example, obviously we've unfortunately recently, like I said at the beginning, recently lost Sarah Fisher, who
Mm-hmm.
was a massively influential figure on my life beyond comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
And the the reaction from people directly to me has been one of support and help.
Amazing.
and they've reached out and they've messaged me and they go, Matt, we knew how important Sarah was to you. You know, just in the same way that I would hope someone who's going through a similar phase to what you did and similar phase to what I am would go, Matt, if there's anything I can do, I'm here.
Mm.
And if they're not that person, when I feel hopefully I am that person, then
Yeah.
where is our connection? Where is our link? And why
Yeah.
are we even connected?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Definitely.
when you were talking, I was so disappointed to hear that that's been your experience.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I said, that massively speak to me. And I'm not making a judgment on that person because
Yeah.
you can't. Going back to what we said in the beginning, we've never walked even a step in that person's shoes, but
Hmm.
it says something about their experiences, their life,
Yeah.
when you are brave enough to be vulnerable and say, "This is me,"
Yeah.
and their reaction is that,
Yeah.
it makes me feel, what is it that's stopping them from going, I'm so glad you told me that because
Yeah.
you're a person that means a lot to me, and
Yeah.
I want you to be you when you're with me. I want you to be honest about social situations or things that
Yeah.
we decide to do, not just that
Yeah.
version that fits my perception of you, but what
Yeah.
is the truth of you? What is you being your honest self and saying, look, I feel really overloaded at the moment. I'm going to have to cancel that social thing that we've got booked in just
Yeah.
because I just feel my social battery is lacking. And then
Yeah.
go, do you know what, Katrina, that's absolutely fine. I get it. No problem. I'll
Yeah.
see you soon. Rather than, oh, I've got to cancel it now. Oh, that's really it's those
Yeah.
people that we need in our lives for us to be. We need it.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a team.
Yes,
They need
exactly.
that support network. They need that team around them. And if that team aren't pulling together, then we need to filter that team a little bit. And that might be hard, and that might mean cutting ourselves off from some people. But
Yeah.
if those people actually aren't doing us any good, why are we
Yeah.
maintaining those connections?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I get that 100%. Unfortunately, I have been I don't like feeling like sorry for myself or anything like that, but I massively believe everything happens for a reason. And I think this is why I do the work that I do now, because it's like I don't ever want anyone to feel like I was when I was going to dog training classes or when I was going for a diagnosis, or like I say, I don't know if it's an agility thing, I don't know if it's because it's a performance-based sport or whatever it is. But I was like, I don't want anybody to feel like that. So I don't want anybody, whether they're going to dog training classes because they just want help with their dog, or whether they do want to do agility, like at a competitive level. I felt awful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've stood on start. That's why I used to specialize in anxiety and agility, because I've stood on start lines where my knees have been shaking and couldn't remember the course and all of that kind of thing. And luckily, before I came into the dog world, I was qualified in counselling and psychology, and that's the route I was going to go down. So my work and qualifications from that kind of background massively came in here, and I was like, oh, this is, I do believe all my experiences have led me to do what I do now, because I think, and the one thing I didn't find is that massive community. And like I say, since I do the work that I do now, the community, the collaborations, the conversations and friendships I've got now is completely different. And if I could just by me telling my story, because if I felt like that, there's going to be others out there that feel like that as well. So I'm kind of like, that's the whole ethos around it. Like, I don't want people to feel like that, whether they're neurodivergent, a dog professional, or a dog handler, or even not neurodivergent, just a little bit anxious, because the way that the humans feel have such an impact on our dogs. And it's like, we do focus on the dogs a lot, thankfully, but if we just focused on the humans more and making them feel comfortable, allowing them to be themselves, the dogs are going to have way more success. So yeah, so even though it's been a bit of a rocky road, I do believe now I'm the other side of it, and
Yeah.
finding a nice lot of people that get it.
Good,
So
good,
when
good.
it comes to going back to the neurodivergence and navigating the diagnosis and stuff, there is a lot of information online, isn't there? And
Yeah.
some of it's good and some of it's bad, and
Yeah.
some helpful, some not so helpful. So, how are you finding that process of trying to navigate everything and making the right choices for you?
For me, it's a lot of trial and error,
Uh-huh.
but it's, lots of communication, lots of chatting with Tam, my partner,
Yeah.
about how we can and how I can make things better, how we can, thrive rather than just surviving stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the challenges with the way that dopamine doesn't necessarily regulate is you see something, you go, that's the thing that's going to fix me. So you go
Yeah.
deep on that thing, and then you go, oh no, actually, no, it wasn't. Oh dear.
Yeah.
And now I've got all this stuff with it, and oh no, here we go again.
Yeah.
But I think for me, because it is such a point of discovery for me. It's just being curious about lots of different elements and
Mhm.
being really cautious of not diving in wholeheartedly into one thing and picking different bits up of what's going to work and what's not. And
Yeah.
it is that trial and error and being really aware of that connection. If I feel that connection, even someone that's talking on a screen, if I
Yeah.
feel that connection with them, then I'm going to try it, or that information's put across in a way. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of filtering, a lot of looking at stuff and watching things and talking to other people. I've recently built a good connection with someone who's similar to you further down the experience and having the opportunity to find out from them what's worked for them, but it's also so personal as well.
Yes.
But it's for me, it's the trial and error element of it that's
Yeah.
actually quite exciting in a way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It is. And it's having knowing that it's is so individualized and everybody like has opinions. And although I do the work that I do, I always say that the caveat to it is that yeah, neurodivergent people do experience similarities, but we're not all going to be the same. And it's so important, especially like my biggest aim is to just get dog professionals, dog trainers more aware so they're opening their classes in different terms of how they're setting it up, the sensory things, the communication, all of that, how they're delivering it. But also it's like understanding that although there is this umbrella things, these sensory issues or processing things, everybody is so individualized, and it's just opening those lines of communication that although there's these umbrella things, just like we would a dog really in dog training, the dog has these certain needs, but it's so individual to that dog, especially in that moment in time. And like I say, it's so important that we're just more open to understanding and awareness, because I do feel like what everybody wants in the dog training world is they want the dogs to succeed. And I think by understanding our handlers a little bit more and understanding how their needs work in that moment, because I think dog training can be very structured and very, we're going to learn this, and I think flexibility is massive when it comes to everything, whether we're navigating our own neurodivergence, whether we're training a dog, whether we're running a business, being flexible in that moment is so, so important, because we can get so much more from whatever it is we're wanting to achieve. So yeah, it's super important. So when it comes to my own experiences with neurodivergence in the dog world, like we've mentioned on the podcast already, I've had many a light bulb moment that have gone like, actually, oh, that's why this has happened and that's why this has happened. So have you found that yourself, like looking back on anything, if you've thought, well, had any of these light bulb moments where you thought, that might be because of my neurodivergence?
Yeah, definitely. I think, going back to what I was saying earlier about chatting with the counselor,
Mm-hmm.
that was for me a really important element of putting bits into place of, okay, that's why I do that. That's why I struggle with this. That's
Yeah.
why potentially I avoid doing those tasks or whatever it is. So that for me, I mean, if there was anything bigger than a light bulb moment of having someone else talk to you about some of the, and it wasn't as though she was asking me if I do those things, and almost in that suggestive conversation, it was like, these are the characteristics of someone that although there are many, of someone that is neurodiverse that has ADHD.
Hmm.
And I'm sat there just nodding, and she, because it was online, she said, "Matt, you're nodding a lot." I was like, "Well, yeah, you're just describing me in a
Yeah.
whole, in essence." So having that open communication with someone that understood it and
Yeah.
understood neurodiversity, and I understood it, but I never applied it to myself, which is
Yeah.
and that was a light bulb moment of, Matt, you've been
Yeah.
learning all this stuff for 20 years.
Yeah.
Why have you not looked inward and gone, you show elements of this stuff too,
Yeah.
and I suppose that was a big light bulb moment of just the knowledge that I've acquired from the
Hmm.
work that I did. Don't just look outward, look inward.
Yeah.
That was a big element for me. And then it was like, oh, okay, here we go. Let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that ability to talk to someone was a big light bulb moment for me, and put some pieces of the jigsaw together that I wasn't putting there. I was in that self-loathing, you just crap at this and you don't do that, and this is getting left behind, and people are chasing you because you're not doing the big email, because you can't sit still long enough to do it. It's too big a task.
Yeah.
All those bits and pieces, whatever it was that I was struggling with,
Yeah.
you're in that element of, well, I'm just crap at those things. And then you realize actually your brain's not wired to support you, to help you to do those things in the way that they're given to you.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
as soon as you start breaking tasks down, and quite open in the fact of my use of AI,
Hmm.
for me, that's been really helpful in prioritizing tasks and giving me
Yeah.
hints and tips and all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, it's in the last couple of years, it's just been this continuous light bulb moment, really. But it's all started by that one person making that suggestion. And if I
Yeah.
hadn't had that opportunity through that free counseling session, probably wouldn't have been anywhere further, any further forward.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's
big thankful for the people, for the organization. Big thank. And I will
mm,
give it's Into Dogs, is the organization. So I will give them a
amazing.
let's just shout out a plug.
Yeah, amazing. No, it is great. I always say I'm a massive believer in that everything happens for a reason. And like I say, my neurodivergence was found completely by chance and then having to win this ticket, which was an expensive ticket. And I was like, yeah, so yeah, these things do happen for a reason. I'm a massive believer
100%.
in that. So moving forward,
Yeah.
when it comes to your own journey, that word again, with
Yeah.
neurodivergence, do you think that it's going to shape how you are as a dog trainer, either from a personal perspective or how you work with your clients?
I think it will continue, it will help me to continue develop my delivery, as
Hmm.
I'm always interested in doing in any way.
Yeah.
And that curiosity in how I can do better, that
Uh-huh.
curiosity in how can I further support, how can I deepen my understanding, how can I become more empathetic of someone else's experience because of my own, and
Yeah.
not to sort of go, well, this has been my journey, you're going to go on a similar journey to me, because that's not going to be how it works. But all in that way of going, well, I get it more because there's a commonality between us. I get it because
Yeah.
I'm going to be more open. If I'm going to be open from the start, then are we going to create that
Yeah.
joint openness of our learning styles, or how we deliver stuff, trying to stay on task. I mean, doing this podcast now has been great because there's been questions from you, but trying to stay
Mhm.
on task with things or keep down one area of
Yeah.
of working is not always easy, or not interrupting people. And I'm constantly in my head going, it's not your time to speak yet, Matt, hold back, and then waiting for that pause to then speak. So it's going to it's going to further enhance the work that I do, I'm sure. It's going to help me with the non-person facing elements of the work that we do too, of
Yeah.
organization, of time management, of, all these bits and pieces that at the moment I'm I'm trying to be better at, but I'm still not great at, but I'm getting there. I'm working towards it. And
Yeah.
I'm not always great. And I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm always good at it, because I'm not, but I'm really trying at the moment to go, right, these are the things I need to put in place to
Yeah.
fulfill fulfill the ability in me to be the best that I can.
Yeah, amazing. That's amazing. So, if anybody's listening and to kind of round it up and who's in a similar situation to what you're going through at the minute and maybe like resonating massively with listening to this podcast, what
Mm.
kind of advice could you give them if they're maybe thinking, oh, that Matt just sounds exactly like I am at the moment? What kind of advice would you give them?
I think talk, talk. Sorry, sometimes I get quite emotional about stuff. I
It's fine.
think finding the ability to talk to someone, whether it is someone that you love, whether it is a friend, whether it is that professional because they're disconnected from elements of your life. And I'm ultra aware also of that stereotype of, as men, we're pretty crap at talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had, a really significant experience in my sort of middle teenage years of losing my mum and taking some therapeutic and counseling support then, and learning how to talk
Mm-hmm.
and knowing how important in being able to understand yourself better. It does need that ability for you to be able to talk to someone, because otherwise you can spiral into a hole of self-loathing, of doubt, of restriction, of not fitting in, not feeling like you're the person. And having those people, and I'm so lucky of the people I have in my life that I can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that isn't the case for everybody, but just finding those, that even if it's just that one person
Mm-hmm.
you feel you can talk to, just starts to open up those possibilities for you, even in the smallest sense of,
Yeah.
I just feel that I've got someone I can open up to about how I'm really feeling about stuff.
Yeah.
Because masking is exhausting,
Yeah.
but being really you, as scary as it can be, is also hugely freeing.
Yeah.
And you will find, and if you're worried about it, of people won't accept me for who I am, you will find those people. You
Yeah.
will find those people that go, Katrina, I love the way that you do stuff, or I love how you are, and I want to
Yeah.
be part of your world. I want to be part of your life. And going back to what we were saying earlier, if people are rejecting of you, of how you are, they're not the people that you need in your world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Definitely.
go and talk.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that I've done the Facebook communities as well, because I was like, within Facebook itself, and I know not everybody's on Facebook, but you can actually have the option in there to go in anonymously. I always struggle to say that word. So even if anybody is listening to this and thinking, oh, I just kind of want a little bit of help or support, and I don't really want to say who I am, there is that facility within the group as well. Anybody is more than welcome to come and join that. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. So thank you so much for talking to me and being so open and so honest. And I'm sure that the people listening will have resonated with it, and you would have helped loads of people out. So if it's okay with you, at the end of all of my podcasts, I just do 5 quick fire round questions so we can get to know
Okay.
you a little bit more. So you
All right.
ready?
Okay.
Difficult. Ready?
I'm ready.
First one, tea or coffee?
Neither.
Neither. What do you drink?
I've still got childhood taste buds, so I'm soft drinks and squash and all that sort of thing.
Amazing, amazing. That's absolutely fine. This one might be a little bit more harder.
Okay.
What's your favorite dog breed?
It is supposed to be quick fire. My goodness.
It's all right.
Um, my heart, my heart are with Labradors,
Yeah,
and Ridgebacks,
yeah.
and Dalmatian Weimaraner crosses, because that's the breeds that we've had and we've got.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play it safe and cover all bases.
Go with those, yeah. Okay, what's your favorite go-to dog product that you use or recommend all the time?
Hand grip long lines.
Amazing, amazing. Lead walk or off lead adventure?
Lead walk.
Hey, yeah. So the last few I've done, people have been lead walk, but before that, off lead adventures had a massive following kind of thing. So, oh,
I,
amazing.
lo- I love I love the connection that you get from moving together, connected by a line.
Yeah, I love that. Love it.
Yeah.
And the last one, what is your favorite way to recharge after a busy day?
Cook.
Amazing.
I love
Love it.
cooking.
Amazing. Do you put music on and sing along to it, or are you a quiet, empty mind cooker kind of?
Well, not no. At the request, probably at the risk of deafening everybody else in the household. No, I'd love to be. Probably when I'm on my own, no one else in the house. Then music
Yeah.
on, and I'd sing. But no, just
Oh,
quietly getting on with it, being methodical, just almost that hyper focus on this is the only task that matters right now, blocking out everything else in the life. Ah,
love
love
it.
it.
Amazing, super. And the most important question that if anybody's listening and they want to know more about the work that you do, how can they find you? Where can they get in touch?
So, social media is Southwest Dog Skills, whether that's Facebook or Instagram. I decided to remove myself from TikTok because I couldn't control my scrolling of it, so I'm not on TikTok. So,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Southwest Dog Skills, um, and our website, southwestdogskills.com.
Amazing, super. Thank you very much. So, thank you, Matt, for joining me on today's podcast. I've loved chatting to you. And if anybody's listening, we're going to put all of the links that Matt's just mentioned underneath under the show notes so you can just click and get in touch with him. And if you are interested in joining any of my Facebook communities, I'll put the links down there for those as well. So, that just leaves me to say thank you again, Matt, for joining us. Thank you for everybody that's listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Amazing.